today we're going to be going and training some chest at Pure Muscle and Fitness. So you know it's going to be a good day. A little bit cloudy and rainy today all morning, but it does look like it's actually going to get a little bit sunnier, so hopefully by the time we finish this gym session it'll be sunny outside and we'll just make the best of it, right? So yeah, as we head over to the gym, there was a few things that I wanted to talk about today, but it's a pretty short ride and so we only have so much time. The one thing I wanted to tell you guys, actually, which is cool, is with the Pre-HD Elite, it's now flavored only with stevia. So a little bit more prep friendly. Now, the only issue is if you're really close to a competition, I would still want to pull it out, just to pull out basically all sweeteners so you have the most neutral point for your gut. And because the thing about stevia is it always kind of has to be bound to something. So let's say, for example, if you use a powder, the stevia is bound to like a maltodextrin to create that powder, or if it's a liquid, it might be bound to like a vegetable glycerin or something like that, or even sometimes they use alcohol. So you just want to be careful, read your labels, but this is a pretty clean formula overall, and they are actually working on some of the new flavors for the Ultra. So last video I was saying they need to step up the game on the flavors a little bit, because I only like one of the flavors, which is the sour gummy, but nonetheless that's top secret information, so just keep it to yourselves, guys, but stay tuned as there will be some flavor updates. But for now we will continue to sip on the Tangerine Pre-HD Elite. And if you guys want to save some money and pick up some HD Muscle products, you can use code STRAND, and it supports me and it helps me out, and you save some money and you get some good subs. So yeah, chest today, guys. We're going to be hitting solo chest day once again. Now comment below if you do like watching these videos or not, because sometimes they're a little bit hit or miss. But I think you guys like the longer videos as opposed to the shorter ones. So I'm going to try to make this a little bit longer, maybe not so much long in the gym. But later on, I do want to talk about exactly what pro bodybuilders take pre, intra, and post-workout and why. And then talking about the differences of a contest prep versus an off-season for that peri-workout nutrition. Sorry about that, guys. Starting to lose the camera here. I do use alien tape actually to hold it on there, so it might not be solidified the best today. However, I do have some new alien tape that we just got in today, so I should have brought that down to the car. But nonetheless, guys, if the camera falls, just know that we'll return once again, probably at some point during the chest day. So with the plan for today, as usual, and this is the thing about prep that you guys are going to see, is that I keep things pretty much consistent. My workouts aren't going to change a whole lot. What does tend to change that you guys had questions about was the difference in volume on some days versus other days. So that's going to depend on really just whether or not we're trying to deplete. The volume of the workouts might be a little bit higher, or if we're going down and staying on lower food for a while, we might have to taper down on the volume. It just depends on recovery. So one way just to think about it is, if you want to make progress in the gym, one way of doing that is by also adding volume to your workout. As long as you're not making the workout so long that it becomes unproductive, but just adding volume slowly, like one set or one new exercise per week. For example, one exercise per week might be an extra 3 to 4 sets for that day, or adding one set per exercise might be like 3 to 5 sets for that day. So right away, you're already adding quite a bit more density to that workout, more work within a given amount of time, is what I would call the workout density. So one way of increasing the intensity of the workout is by increasing the density of the workout, just by increasing volume, kind of like how Jay Cutler trains. So that's just how I explain things, guys. There's always going to be a dial where you can turn the dial up towards high intensity Dorian Yates, or you can turn that dial down towards high volume Jay Cutler style of training. Both methods do work, but both methods will work for you at specific periods along your journey. So I've used high volume, I've used low volume, I've used high frequency, I've used lower frequency, and I've done everything in between, from starting strength to dog crap training to HIIT training, again to high volume to super high volume, and it all works. But the point is that it has to be periodized, and then basically when you know when to change it up is when your body stops responding. So there's no need to change things if you're making progress, but if you stop making progress, it's a good time to change things. Now, how much you change things, I mean, that's up to you, right? I don't necessarily recommend just always jumping from one training philosophy to another, because again, there's so many other ways to progress in the meantime, like what I talked about with the volume, or just simply progressive overload, right? So that's just a little bit of training talk there as we roll into the gym. But yeah, there's, like I said, there's other things I want to talk about in terms of my mindset. So maybe we'll jump into that a little bit today, throughout the workout. Maybe when I'm done training, we can talk mindset. But for now, we're just gonna get in there. We're gonna start getting warmed up, keep the momentum going, and just keep that champion mindset, guys. So let's have a great day. Let's get a massive pump. Let's get after it. So this is gonna be my last exercise for today. Putting out a French press. Starting to get tired, so just gonna do 2 more sets here. Did 1 warm up. This will be my working set, first working set. Oh man. Yeah, we get to that point where once you hit failure, it's failure. So 8, 9, 10 reps, whatever we get. 1 more set. Tanning, posing. Okay, remember what I said about the sun coming out after the workout? Well, that did not happen. But what did happen was we crushed it, chest day in the books, and it was a solid one today, guys. As you saw, tried to push the weight a little bit today, as I always want to keep my strength up as long as possible while we're on prep, so I always want to at least push the heaviest weights I can, and if for whatever reason it ends up being too heavy, I'll simply do a back off set. But right now, like I said, the volume was a little bit lower, so every exercise was 3 sets total with either 1 or 2 sets to failure, and it actually felt really good. No spotter today, but nonetheless had a really solid pump today, so feeling good. Body's feeling good, and my mindset is in a good place right now. Locked in for the Tampa Pro right now, guys. 12 weeks out. Super pumped to bring you guys along for this journey with me. And I do appreciate you guys following along. So the game plan for Tampa is to come in absolutely peeled to the bone, Strand strong conditioning, and of course with more size than I've ever had on stage. So last year in Chicago I was around 260 on stage, but in Vancouver I was about 257, and those 3 pounds was the difference, I think, between Chicago being a little bit over full, over spilled, if you will, whereas Vancouver was super dry, super peeled. Same thing with Toronto. And so if I was like 262, 265 even, with that dry, shredded to the bone, front to back, in and out, peeled look, then it's basically game over for almost anybody. All right, so what's going on, guys? We're back at the house, and I want to talk to you guys about pre, intra, and post-workout nutrition, also known as peri-workout nutrition. So I'm gonna run you guys through what I do for off-season and for contest prep, and then what I would recommend for you guys in certain situations, okay? So pre-workout, what I always do is I always have a carbohydrate, a protein, and a fat source about an hour and a half to 2 hours before I train. This is usually gonna be potatoes, either sweet potatoes or white potatoes, and then an easily digestible source of protein like fish, chicken. You can use whey protein. You don't have to have potatoes. Of course, you can also have white rice or cream of rice. But for me, the reason why I'm having potatoes as a pre-workout source is because that's going to be one of the highest carbohydrate sources or one of the highest potassium sources out of all those carbohydrates. So having potatoes pre-workout with potassium and sodium is going to give me a good pump in my muscles, much better pump than just having white rice and sodium alone, because I'm not going to have that potassium unless I eat potatoes. So that's my pre-workout nutrition. It's usually, for contest prep, it's usually about 50 grams of carbs, 50 to 60 grams of protein, and about 10 grams of fat. Okay? Coconut oil, olive oil, and nut butter. So that's an hour and a half, 2 hours before I train. 30 minutes before I train, I'm gonna have a pre-workout. So right now I'm doing the Pre-HD Elite like I've been talking about. That's a non-stim pre-workout. If I train later in the day, I'm gonna make sure I'm having no stimulants. But if I'm training earlier in the day, I'm gonna have a coffee most likely around noon. If I don't have a coffee, I'm probably gonna have a caffeine pill, which gives me about 200 milligrams of caffeine. Now, for somebody who goes to the gym and they feel that they get anxiety, one supplement that I would recommend is L-theanine. You could stack L-theanine with caffeine to reduce the effects of the anxiousness, jitterness, and any of the side effects you might get from caffeine. Gives you a little bit of a better focus. Now, for somebody else, for example, who is really trying to get more focus, more mind-muscle connection, to the point where it's almost like you have blinders on and you have tunnel vision, that's why I recommend using Alpha GPC. So Alpha GPC is going to donate choline to your brain, which is going to work as a neurotransmitter to help you with controlling movements, also helping with learning. So if you're training, you're reinforcing movement patterns. So ultimately taking around 300 to 600 milligrams of Alpha GPC pre-workout can increase your mind-muscle connection. So generally, as a full pre-workout stack, I'll do the Pre-HD Elite, I'll do 100 milligrams of theanine, I'll do 200 milligrams of caffeine, and then I'll do 300 to 600 milligrams of Alpha GPC. That's 30 minutes before I train. Okay? Oh, and also guys, 5 grams of creatine. Right now on contest prep, I'm actually doing 10 grams of creatine, again, because I'm trying to offset the performance decrease that I might get from dropping my carbohydrates. Okay, now during the training, usually after my first hard working set, let's say today I did my incline dumbbell press with the 130s. After that set, I started drinking my Intra HD. So 1 scoop of Intra HD, I'm gonna basically have that almost throughout my entire contest prep until I pull sweeteners in the last couple of weeks. So I drink that throughout my workout. Now, if I was in the off season, I would also include some Carb HD. And what I would do is I would have between 25 and 100 grams of carbs throughout my workout. 100 grams of carbs would be for a long, heavy, high volume leg day, whereas 25 to 50 grams of carbs would probably be enough for an upper body day. Okay, so intra workout, I'm looking at between 25 grams of carbs to 100 grams of carbs. I'm getting about 5 to 10 grams of EAAs. The Intra HD also has peak O2, which is going to help with increasing blood flow, and it's also got Spectra, which is a high antioxidant blend of fruits and veggies. So this is a good formula to keep your body in a good state for performance. It's also got coconut water and some other electrolytes for potassium and sodium. And then of course, I'm going to continue to add salt throughout my training. So I'll put some salt in my intra workout. And now guys, we're back at home. We finished training. I actually did have a scoop of Intra HD on the way home as well. And so now for my post-workout meal, I'm gonna try to get in about 100 grams of carbs from cream of rice. I'm also gonna get in about 50 to 60 grams of highly digestible protein from fish or whey protein. For me today, I'm actually gonna do some whitefish and save my protein for tonight. And then I'm also gonna have 10 grams of fats from nut butter. So my pre and post workout meals are generally about the same. As you can tell, there's a carbohydrate, there's a protein, and there's a fat source in both my pre and post workout meals. A lot of people are concerned about having fat in their post workout meal. For me, I'm the type of person who can get easily low blood sugar. Even if I'm not taking any Humalog or any exogenous insulin, for example, I can still run into getting low blood sugar. And especially if I'm active after my post-workout meal, I end up getting low blood sugar around 90 minutes post-workout meal. And so if I add in a little bit more fats, it actually allows me to carry over my energy until my post-workout meal, which is usually 2 hours later. So that's just how I do it, guys. I hope that's helpful for you. Pre and intra-workout nutrition and post-workout nutrition is an extremely overlooked part of your training nutrition. So make sure your pre, intra, and post-workout nutrition is on point so you can recover and perform at your best. And if you guys enjoy this information, please let me know with a comment below. And if you want to see more content like this, drop a like, subscribe, and don't forget, guys, healthy people build more muscle, and stay strong because strength is power.